this corner, the podcast, a buck 76, boxing's biggest names, boxing's biggest stories, boxing's biggest fights, greatest memories and moments. We dissect and break down all of it with the boxing writer, author, CompuBox counter, historian. He is a jackknife of all trades, and he is Lee Groves on his birthday week, too. How you doing, Lee?
Birthday week. It's a good week. So
Yeah.
everybody's celebrating Thanksgiving. There's a lot for which we're thankful for, and we'll cover a little bit of that near the end of the show.
Yeah, but before we get to that, we're going to break down what took place, kind of recap what took place just a few days ago in Riyadh with the big fight card there. David Benavidez in Yard and Haney and Norman. And boy, oh boy, that Bam, he is something special. And after that segment one, we'll be joined by the grandson of Muhammad Ali, Nico Ali Walsh, will be with us to talk about his boxing career and maybe even more importantly about his life and his remembrances of the greatest Muhammad Ali. But first, take it away. You've prepared a lot. I'm looking at this bodacious script here, so fire away, baby.
Yeah, I do put a lot of work into this.
You do. You do a hell of a something. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, on paper, you can make a pretty good argument that last Saturday's card from Saudi Arabia was the best top-to-bottom pay-per-view show of the year. And in the ring, it was a very entertaining and a very illuminating show. The main portion of the program began with one of our previous guests, in Vito Melnicki. Yeah. He's now ranked 6th by the WBO at middleweight, and he scored a 9th-round TKO over the 21-0 Samuel Noma. He not only showed off his boxing skills, but he proved that he can finish opponents. Before what would be the final round, Melnicki's trainer, Ronnie Shields, told him to increase the pressure and go for the knockout. And he did just that. Smitty's only 23 years old, but he's already a veteran in terms of the number of fights that he's had and the years he's been as a pro. What do you think of his present, and what do you think of his future potential?
Well, I'll just hold off on the future right now. They're bringing him along the right way, and I was really impressed. I was at his prior fight in New Jersey in June, working with Top Rank, and this one I saw improvements. He got hit a few times. He gets hit, but I love the way he listened to instruction and followed instruction and did what Ronnie told him to do. And there's something to that. When you're not, let's say, and this is interesting, it goes into something I'm working on with a project in my mind about, breaking down fights post-fight, doing a whole show where we break down fights and really go into great detail about what fighter A did, what he didn't do, what fighter B did and didn't do. And sometimes what can really be beneficial to a fighter is listening, is instruction. Let's say they're not the biggest puncher or the fastest guy or the this or the that, but they listen. And then if they have a good corner who can see what's going on and they apply that instruction, I think you saw that. And Vito's a sharp kid, so I like what I saw.
I did too. I really did. And it's a growth process. It's been pretty slow. It's been pretty measured. But really, he's very young and he's got a lot of years left. So, in the middleweight division, it's in flux. I think he's in good position to be near the top of the next wave of middleweights.
Too bad he's not a welterweight, but that's a story coming soon.
That's true. And next up was a fight for the vacant WBO lightweight title between the undefeated knockout artist Abdullah Mason and the undefeated knockout artist Sam Noakes. Much was expected from this fight, and I think it actually over-delivered. Each was facing the best opponent the other has ever faced, and they pushed each other to places they hadn't yet experienced as pros. In the end, Mason won by a unanimous decision, and at age 21, he becomes the youngest male fighter to hold a widely recognized world title. What did you think of the fight, and what's your assessment of Mason?
How did you score that fight?
I think I scored it.
Roughly. I mean, you don't have to give me the exact.
I think that it was close. I think it was like 15-13, something like that.
Yeah.
The fight was pretty even going into
Not
the
according
final
to
third.
the not according to the great judge that they had on the telecast. I won't I think he had it, anyway. That was one of the all right, I'm gonna be nice, I'm gonna be kind.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're gonna do big time fights, get a big time judge.
Mm.
Get somebody. I mean, maybe Steve Weisfeld could be the next Harold Letterman or something like that. If he's not, I don't know how that works. Well, you have to be retired. You'd have to be retired. But get somebody who can score a damn fight, not somebody who anyway, can't even play tiddlywinks probably. But yeah, I thought it was a good fight. It was competitive. I liked the style. But I tell you something, Mason's not going to have a long run if he continues to fight where
Yeah.
everything is and it's funny because what we'll talk about next is the polar opposite of that. But I thought it was a really good fight for the fans. I could see, a rematch down the road. Both guys could go on with what they're doing now. Mason's a good talent. The other guy's a really good fighter. But I think Mason, who was the A side, certainly needs to work on a whole lot of stuff, or he will never get to where he's the really A side because he just puts too much into everything, puts himself in harm's way. Boy, it makes for fun for fight fans, but I think he has a lot of skills that he could maximize with a little more style and substance and fundamentals.
I think one of the most important things about this fight from Mason's development is that he was the one who controlled the action late.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the fight was in the balance, and he was the
Yeah,
one who came running down the home stretch
yeah.
and showing what he needed to show. And of course, one of the things that I like about Turkey Al Sheikh is that even if you lose a fight like that, you're going to get another chance to perform. And I saw a report in which Turkey Al Sheikh told Noakes he wants him to fight on a future card. And so, it rewards taking a risk because if you lose but you show well, you're still in the game. You're still in the game financially. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think you should have to fight for those reasons, though. I don't think that should enter into it, but I understand what you're saying. What's next?
Well, what's next is boy, you made allusions to this, but I believed that the title unification showdown between Bam Rodriguez and Fernando Martinez could be a show stealer because of Rodriguez's consummate skill and Martinez's indomitable will. Instead, it was the most lopsided fight of the night as Bam sliced, diced, and dissected Martinez before he scored the 10 count knockout in round 10. Now, I had Bam ranked number 5 in my personal pound for pound ratings, but behind Crawford and Usyk and Inoue and Bivol. But this performance, combined with Bivol's inactivity, has persuaded me to jump Bam up to number 4. Uh, you are not one to heap praise on just anybody. But when we talked on the phone after the fight, you were paying him a lot of compliments. Expand on that.
He's a complete fighter. We talk about pound for pound all the time, and we go into all of this stuff, and we get, lost in punching power and speed and the sizes and the quality of opposition and all of that. But it made me think, what is really a complete fighter? And there is no more of a complete fighter than him in the game, exception of Bud, Crawford, and maybe an Usyk. Complete. What complete means is that you can fight every different style and make it work for you. And you can make adjustments if you need to. You can box, you can punch. You have great defense. His nuances for me, and I think of, and I hope we can get Orlando Canizales on the program. He reminds me a lot of him. By the
Mhm.
way, I think they're both Texas guys, if I'm correct, I think.
Correct. One's from Laredo, one's from San
Right.
Antonio,
And let me tell you, it must be something in the water there because he is so complete. He is so fluid. I mentioned Mason and how everything is
Right.
same with another guy like Haney. But this guy is so silky smooth. And when he set up that knockout, he had a little smile on his face, and he parried a shot, and bam, and came back, bam, hence
Bam.
the bam,
Yeah.
came back over. He looks like not even he looks too young to even be a damn choir boy. But oh boy, is he something special. I don't know how long he'll be around. It seems like the little guys are lasting longer now, but I'm telling you something. There's really nobody out there better. Nobody better. There's a couple of guys that have a little bit more experience, but he is the complete package.
And he's only 25 years old. The other guys are in their deep 30s.
Exactly.
And so he is poised to become the eventual number one pound for pound guy in the not too distant future.
Yeah, and there's some great matchups. What would you like to see him do next?
I think we're going to cover that a little bit, near the end of the segment. But he
Okay.
could go up to bantamweight
Okay.
and go there, and then he could go again eventually the winner of Inoue and Nakatani. But we'll see how things go down the road. And going on to the co-main event, we said last week that that was the most intriguing match of the entire card. The WBO welterweight title fight between champion Brian Norman Jr. and challenger Devin Haney. And that's because Norman couldn't have asked for a better preamble than his one-punch knockout of Jin Sasaki, probably the knockout of the year. He called it the knockout of the decade. We'll see. And Haney couldn't have asked for a worse preamble than his performances against Ryan Garcia, which he lost and turned out to be a no contest, and Jose Carlos Ramirez, which he won, but he made a track meet out of it. Many people picked Norman to stop Haney because of his shaky chin and his vulnerability against left hooks, which happens to be Norman's.
I gave Norman the advantage.
Yeah. And many people picked Haney because of his experience and his technical prowess. That would be me. In the ring, there were several surprises. First, it was Haney that scored the fight's only knockdown in round two. And through the first 6 rounds, he was tremendously effective. But in the second half, Haney appeared to throttle down. And because of that, Norman was able to close the gap on the scorecards a little bit. Haney still won by unanimous decision. He became a 3-division champion, and he answered many of the charges leveled by his critics regarding his chin and his viability at 147. But to me, the performance could have been even better had he not chosen to shift into cruise control. What are your thoughts?
Cruise control or grab and hold and cling control, which
Right.
part of that was Norman's problem. And you know why it was both of their problems? Because neither one of those guys is a complete fighter and never will be, both of them. Norman has a better chance of that because he's young. Well, they're both young, but Haney is had so many different trainers and he's done so much. He is what he is. I would still work on certain things if I were him. You had told me something when I said I was leaning towards Norman. You said, how much have you watched him? Because and I said, not much. And I think you kind of hinted, Smitty, you should go watch some film. And I did. And then I said, oh boy, I saw how easily he was hit with right hands because he absolutely has hit the title of one of my favorite movies, Less Than Zero Head Movement, meaning Norman. And he got clipped with a left hook a little earlier, and I think it was round 2, I think.
Was
and then
right
the right
before the
hand that
knockdown.
and the right hand that dropped him. And it was, and I said, man, Haney's poised to finish this guy. Until I remembered, no, then Haney was almost finished. He would win, and I had him winning, pretty convincingly, 2-3 points. Could have been 4, but probably 3, something like that.
Yeah.
But he has a very good jab that he put it away. He put it away for some reason, and it's just he's probably the class of the welterweight division. Gosh, that's bad to say.
Right.
But to tell you the truth, I kind of think he is what he is. I like him as a person. Did a show with him and an in-ring with him. like his father's always been nice to me, although I wish Bill would, kind of just do the managerial stuff and shut up. But I like him, and they look. You cannot take away from what they've done. So rather than me sit here, I don't like doing that. Look, what he's done is fantastic, and so I just want to give him his plaudits. If they want to come to me, they'd have to pay me. I'm not doing this stuff anymore for these fighters unless they pay me. But I mean, but there's not a whole lot he should change at this point. I mean, look at him. He's won championships, and he's proven a lot of people wrong. And by the way, I got to give him credit for mentally coming back from all the stuff that he absorbed from Garcia and what he heard from the stupid internet and what he did. So I mostly give him credit, but since we're supposed to be breaking stuff down, I just wish he knew how to fight on the inside a little bit. And maybe there's a few things he can work on with a really good trainer to do some of that. Maybe he should get Robert Garcia, somebody to teach him, because when you get on the inside, there's some stuff you can do, and he doesn't know how to do it. And by the way, Norman didn't know how to do it either. Or when they got in there and Haney wanted to hold, he would have batted his hand down and thrown something, or backed up and created some space and thrown something. He didn't know either. The art of fighting inside, very few really know how to do it. But I give a lot of credit to Haney for what he's accomplished and what he did just the other night.
And then, of course, by winning that championship, he's the WBO champion. Ryan Garcia has apparently signed, at least, to fight Mario Barrios. And should he win, then you got the rematch for unification, bigger money. That's sort of what everybody is angling toward sometime next year, if everything works out the way the powers that be want it to work out. We'll
Right.
see what happens. But now the main event saw David Benavidez retain his WBC light heavyweight title, as well as his secondary WBA belt, by stopping Anthony Yard in round 7. And in doing so, he provided the perfect answer to those who doubted his punching power at 175, following back-to-back decision victories over Alexander Gvozdyk and David Morrell. His hand speed, as always, was phenomenal. And after the fight, he announced that his next fight will take place May 2nd in Las Vegas against WBA WBO cruiserweight champion Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. Now, that is if Ramirez beats Robin Safar in January. So there's one more hoop that has to be, gone through. What did you think of Benavidez' performance, and what do you think about him moving up to the 200-pound division?
Yeah, I think the Zerto fight makes sense. We'll talk about that when it gets signed. But he
Right.
did exactly what he had to do against. I mean, Yard is just a big oak tree. He's been chopped down before. And
Twice.
by even by Kovalev, I remember, and Beterbiev, I think, was the other one.
Yeah.
He's okay, but everything he threw was not with bad intention. It was those big arms extended out. I mean, he should quit right now at boxing now and go into movies or magazines. He's an Adonis.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice guy, tough guy, but he there was nothing there. He was giving nothing back but arm punches that were just to try to stifle somewhat the Mexican monster, who always gives us what he gives us. He's fun to watch, puts himself in harm's way, he's the actually opposite of Haney. He does the opposite. He puts himself in harm's way when he doesn't have to, and he makes for good fights, and he does what he's supposed to. So the monster was the monster.
And then, of course, one of the post-fight debates that are happening on Twitter, somebody brought up the possibility of David Benavidez fighting Alexander Usyk for the heavyweight championship down the line. Jim Lampley, you told me, said that Benavidez got a shot at that. What do you think?
Well, I saw that, and I went on there and responded, "Love Jim. We love Jim, but
Yeah, we
nope,
do.
but nope." There's listen, without going into all another 15 minutes on this size and rehydrations and all the bullshit that is boxing now and has been for a long time. I mean, I even look at Haney, and Haney did not look like a welterweight to me.
No.
He looked like a super middleweight. But anyway, the thing is this: every weightlifter, every great weightlifter, uh, gets to a certain weight and they can't lift that weight. It's just simply too much. That's, a track star, runs a 100-yard dash and they get to it. They just can't do any more pole vault. My point is, there are bridges too far. And it's not only a bridge that's too far, because I know what people would say. What are you talking about, Smitty? They're roughly the same height, and Usyk used to be a no, but Usyk's not a cruiserweight anymore. His
No.
body is different, and he is the antithesis of Yard. He is not only a bridge too far and too big, but he's all over the frickin' place, moving around like Willie Pep. He's,
And he's smart
and
too.
he's a genius, and he's a complete fighter. No, no, no. Next subject.
Next subject, we move to a couple of news items. And a few days ago, former middleweight champion Gennady Golovkin was elected as the new president of World Boxing. That's the organization that will run the boxing competition at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. He said his objective was to restore trust in amateur boxing, something that has been questioned for very, very good reasons. One could say that this is a full circle moment for him because he had an amateur record of 345 and 5, and he won the silver medal at the 2004 Olympics in Athens. So Gennady Golovkin now has a new role in boxing, and I think it's a very welcome one.
Yeah, I love the guy, but he needs to, I hope he does that. It's funny how you almost said the word destroy when you were starting this because amateur boxing's been pretty much destroyed. But Gennady needs to focus on one thing and one thing alone, and that is me, because I'm coming for him at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I believe he'll be inducted. I believe he will. He should be. And Gennady, you're on my list. You're on my list. What is it? What was that line he used to always say? I love boxing, or I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I just love Gennady, and I do hope and pray that that I get an opportunity with him someday, hopefully in June, to do because I think he'll be inducted. To do an in-ring with him and to do a whole show with him because I really like him. So anything he does for boxing is good for boxing, in my opinion.
Right.
But get ready, Gennady, because I'm coming for you.
And he'll call you a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Earlier today, as we tape, Takuma Inoue, the younger brother of Naoya Inoue and the former WBA bantamweight champion, won the vacant WBC bantamweight title by unanimous decision against Tenshin Nasukawa, a kickboxing star who was trying to win a world title in his 8th pro fight. I'm sure that Bam is looking to move up to 118 pounds soon. And I think Inoue would be an attractive option because, after all, many fans want to see Bam fight Takuma's older brother Naoya down the line. And what better way to set up a possible Bam Naoya Inoue fight than to have Bam fight his younger brother?
Love that. Yeah, that sounds, that all makes sense. We'll see if it comes to fruition. I've been making some announcements. I made an announcement a few weeks ago that I want to, God willing, do 15 more in-rings. I mentioned about franchising my show, and I was asked the other day by somebody who's working on this with me, where would be the first part of the world? There's so many where boxing is thriving, the UK, Eastern Europe, Mexico, Philippines, but I think that I would like to go for Japan first because what I would do is I'd pick the top 5 guys of today, and some of those are all-time greats.
Yes.
In Inoue and Nakatani, and then you got Kazuto Ioka, who's just going to be he's at the end of his career, but he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And then I would of course talk to you about guys from the past that are still alive. And so that'd be one of the first places I would want to franchise in this corner would
Yeah,
be Japan, because boy, they're thriving right now,
they
and we
are.
got a lot of stuff. In fact, they got a big fight card, I think, coming up
Yes.
before the end of the year that could set the stage for a mega fight next year.
And yeah, Nakatani and Inoue, and also on that card is Kenshiro Taraji, who is a longtime 108-pound champion. He was a unified 112-pound champion. He's moving up to 115
Yeah.
to challenge for a belt there. So, looking, that's a good idea.
All
I
right.
love the Japanese fighting history.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and we will come back with Nico Ali Walsh right after this.
I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back in this corner, the podcast, boxing's biggest names, boxing's biggest stories, boxing's biggest fights, greatest memories and moments. We dissect and break down it all. And we are joined by, I've been looking forward to having this young man on the program for a multitude of reasons. I'm one that believes in karma and fate, and everybody knows my story, starting out with Muhammad as a little lad in Miami, and then I end up doing Layla Ali's fights, and I end up doing the final interview with Smoking Joe Frazier before he passed away. I'm the host of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, all of that. And now I get to talk to this guy who has the bloodlines. He is Nico Ali Walsh, who joins us. I don't know how, I think you're in Vegas, right?
Yes, sir. I'm right here in Vegas.
Right down the street from me, probably somewhere. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to do a lot of stuff. Lee's prepared some wonderful questions for you. First thing I
Awesome.
would like to do is go back and, if you will, tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up, and you can take us on up into about maybe the part, where you got into boxing. But let's go back, talk about your childhood.
Once upon a time, I was, I was born in Chicago. I'm very tight with my family. So I've just been close with my family my whole life. And, obviously I'm always talking about my grandfather. Everyone's always asking me questions about my grandfather. But people got to understand that when I was born, I only had one grandfather, and it was him. So all my other grandparents on my dad's side had passed away long before I was born. So that grandparents spoiled their grandkids, and he was my guy. Like, he was just my best friend, and we were very close growing up. So I was just surrounded by boxing. When I was like 3 years old, I don't remember this, of course. I see it in pictures that I was able to watch him hit the bag. He would put on gloves with me. He would get in the ring with me. I don't remember any of this. It meant nothing to me. It was just me hanging out with my grandfather. But it wasn't until I was about 14 or 15 when I started getting the bug for boxing.
Right.
And that's when I wanted to turn amateur. And I did turn into an amateur at 15. But I didn't have a lot of fights at all. But that's where the bug stuck with me.
Yeah. And I know you were a good athlete. Your brother Biagio played football. You played football too, didn't you?
I don't know. I would say no, because I tried to play football for about 3 days, and I was like, this team sport stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
And that's immediately when I switched over to boxing. I said, I want something that's self-independent with no, I was getting punished for stuff that teammates were doing in the first 3 days. So I was
Right.
like, I'm done with this. I'm doing boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. I played Pop Warner high school, couple of years in college, and I didn't grow any. And when I jumped out of football, I went right into boxing professionally with absolutely no amateur experience at all, training in Miami where every little Cuban there could whoop my ass. So I learned the hard way about it. But I'm so glad I tried it at least, because it certainly would set the foundation for what I would become as I toss it to Lee Groves.
You said in previous interviews that the only version of your grandfather that you've ever known was the one that was suffering from his various health issues.
Yeah.
When did you first see video of him as that dynamic young man who thrilled audiences inside and outside of the ring, all the poetry, all of the stuff that he did? And what went through your mind when you first saw that version of him?
That's an awesome question. I grew up obviously around him when he had Parkinson's. So I just thought he was a quiet guy. I saw him as that quiet dude. And I was just like, I mean, I knew he was funny. We always was laughing and doing stupid things. But I just thought I always saw him as that quiet dude. And then when I turned into a teenager, 13, 14, is when people started like talking about him as like this loudmouth dude, this loudmouth guy that would be talking and he bragged to people. And I was like, who is that guy? Like, that's not the guy that I know. And I remember watching an interview of hearing him talk, he was just talking and going off on people. You know how he was in those interviews. Right. So I was like, I have no idea who this man is. Like, that is not my grandfather. But it was, I remember the first time watching that, seeing like that's what he did, because he changed so much. Like, the guy that I knew was a grandfather. He was an older guy who just, was quieter, not just because of the illness, just because of age in general. He was just quiet, humble, and so it was so weird to see that side of him.
I bet. Did you ever think of borrowing some of his riff, when you went into your boxing career? Did you think about borrowing some of the lines and stuff?
I never did. I honestly, I try not to compare myself to him at all. Mm-hmm. I try not to steal anything from him at all. Any comparisons or similarities that we have is probably due to blood. Like, I do certain things, even outside of boxing, I do certain things, maybe certain kicks where like my mom will be like, oh, he used to do that all the time. I do stuff. That's how people are. Like, I do stuff that my dad does. I do stuff that my mom does. I do stuff that my grandfather does. So anything that we have similar is probably because of, blood.
You decided to become a boxer because you wanted to do everything that he did. And I'm sure that you had goals that you wanted to fulfill. What were your goals at the beginning of your career? And now that you've experienced some bumps in the road, have those goals changed?
You're on point with these questions. I love these freaking questions. I'm a dreamer. So when I remember my first day in the boxing gym. I know you guys were just talking about the Riyadh season fights. My first day in a boxing gym was with Devin Haney. I went to his gym. That was my first ever boxing gym. So my love and respect for the Haney family is on the nth tier. I love those guys. That was my first boxing gym. And I remember that first day when Bill Haney set me up with a trainer. I remember that first day saying, I can't wait to be a pro. I can't wait to be a champion. I was a dreamer. I was just talking stupid. People were like, he's not gonna do nothing. But that's what I wanted. That was my dream. And when I do something, I take it to the end. I don't quit anything. And, with these bumps in the road that I'm having, I had injuries, losses, a draw, whatever. That dream has only gotten stronger because nothing has stopped me. Nothing has even warranted a question in my mind to stop. So it's just exciting to see that I've come this far off of just a dream, basically.
So what are your goals now? What do you want to achieve in this sport?
I want to be champion. That's the only goal. Like, I would never want to start anything, especially boxing, and limit myself to just winning X amount of fights. I don't care about record. I don't care about none of that stuff. I feel like I'm an old school fighter that values legacy more than anything. I don't care. I mean, the money's important in boxing, but I don't care about that more than legacy, more than titles, more than belts. That's the goal. I want to be number one in the sport. I want to be remembered in the sport, and that's exactly what I'm building now.
Wish
You know,
more
there was
fighters.
another.
Wish more fighters had that. Yeah, that attitude. Keep going, Lee.
Yeah.
Thank
There
you.
was another member of the Ali family who boxed, and that member, Layla Ali, has been inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame along with Muhammad.
Mhm.
What is your relationship with Layla, and have you ever sought advice from her regarding your boxing career?
She was there for she was there for maybe 2 amateur fights I had. I didn't have a lot of amateur fights, but I had some fights in LA. She was living there at the time. And she's the only one in the family that understands being an Ali and boxing. So we're the only 3 boxers in the family history was my grandfather, Layla, and me. That's it.
Right.
So she understands. And she helped me back in those days, in the amateur days. She would say that I would get the best version of opponents just because I'm an Ali, and I was like, okay, I believed her, but I feel it, I see it now. Like I do get, if I'm fighting a C-level fighter, they'll show up to fight me as an A- fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I always get the best version of whoever I'm fighting. And I see that now, and it's
Yeah, well, there
very
are
important
no easy
to
outs for you. Rockman Ali,
no.
Rudy Clay. When I met him, he was Rudy Clay. In fact, Muhammad used to have him watch after me. I remember one time, I'm just a kid, but he told me just being an Ali and being the brother of Muhammad,
Oh yeah,
everybody had their kick-ass game on for him. So everybody's going to be at a higher level for you. It's a
I
win
know.
over an Ali. But go
I
ahead.
know, I know. And it's not just a win. People aren't just trying to win against me. They're trying to hurt me. They're trying to
Yeah.
knock me out. They're trying to end me.
Mhm.
Because, I've had my losses early on. I'm early in my career. A loss isn't I've never definitively lost. Like the 2 losses I have was a split decision and a majority decision. They may have been both split. I have no idea. But that's not enough for these guys. They want to end me. They want to
Yeah.
put an end to my career. And that's by knocking me out, just stopping me. So I get those versions of all my opponents.
And for the record, one was a majority decision, one was a split decision,
Thank
and
you.
you avenged one of them. So,
Yes.
um, because of your association with Muhammad Ali, you were given a big push by Top Rank, a
Yes.
push that most young fighters don't usually get. Did you experience any resentment from your fellow fighters, and how did you go about getting the respect of your fellow fighters in the gym?
Um. Oh, can you see
There
me?
you go. Yeah, you're
You
good
did
Sorry,
an
now.
I don't know.
Ali.
I
You
don't know
did an
what just
Ali
happened.
movement there on us. You
That's
slid
right.
like
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Um, that's another great question. Unfortunately, the double-edged sword when it comes to all the Ali stuff is that I get so much criticism, and I get so much hate, unwarranted hate towards me because people don't know me. They don't know that I was raised by my parents. I think in a great way where I don't carry myself as anything less than humble or down to earth. And when people hear about me all the time, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm sick of this Nico kid. Like, who is this? Who is this kid?" And they assume the worst. They assume I'm a stuck-up kid that gets everything handed to me, and I'm a mean dude. But that's not how I am at all. So I had to experience that unwarranted hate from most fighters actually because of how much Top Rank was pushing me and how much attention in general I was getting.
Who were the people that helped you the most during this process?
I loved this question because it's positive.
Yeah.
And these people that helped me the most are these people that put aside all the Ali talk and was like, I like this dude. They believed in me from day one. It's Top Rank fighter Bruce Shushu Carrington.
Yeah.
He's number one. He's my dude. Um, Terrence Crawford is my freaking brother. Um, so he's amazing. Devin Haney, Troy Isley, who's also with Top Rank. There's only that, like,
Don't
those
forget
four
about
guys,
Flava
maybe five.
Flav. Don't forget Flava
He
Flav.
doesn't count. He doesn't count. He's not a fighter. He's
I
not a
know,
fighter. He
but
doesn't count.
he
Flav,
loves you. He was all over me at the Hall of Fame when he was there, saying,
oh my
"Smitty, you
God.
got to hang out with Nico. Smitty, Nico, 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 Nico." He loves you.
No, he was there. He was there. People don't know this. He was the one who got me to Devin's gym when I first
Ah,
started. He introduced me to Bill Haney. Bill Haney got me the trainer. So Flav, he's freaking. I know we all know Flav as Flavor Flav, but that guy is as close to family with me as you can get without
what
the
he said
actual
about
blood.
you. Yeah, that's what he said. He feels like you're part of the family. Sorry, Lee. You know this is going to happen with me interrupting, but go ahead.
Of course. Speaking of Top Rank, what do you make of their current situation?
Yeah.
Because their association with ESPN ended 5 months ago, and most of their cards since then have been on Fubo and Tubi and Roku. In fact, they had a card this morning emanating from Japan. Um, what do you think? They're kind of in flux right now, and a lot of the fighters
Yeah.
associated are in flux.
No, honestly, it's unfortunate because there's so many great names, great fighters that are still with Top Rank that deserve to be on platforms that for the world to see. Everyone always says that the greatest fighter of all time is not on the TV, but in some gym where nobody can see. So you can be a great fighter, but if no one's seeing you, then you're not getting the attention and accolades that you deserve. So it's unfortunate that they're not with ESPN. I've always said I'm loyal to Bob Arum till I die. Bob Arum was with my grandfather, so I'm riding with Bob himself to the end.
To the end. And what are your thoughts about the attempt to amend the Ali Act?
Hate it, hate it. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think I got some criticism for I made a tweet or something talking about the Ali Act, and I think it's really stupid that people would even assume that I would go against an act that my grandfather put in place to begin with. Why would I go against what my grandfather stood for? That's just, I mean, beyond me. But the act in general, the amendment of the Ali Act, I know they're trying to say that it's going to benefit fighter. They're trying to skate around and say we're trying to help. We know what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
It's the Ali Act was put in place to actually benefit the fighter. So any amendment to that would be taking away from it. It's
You know,
not.
I'm
I don't
surprised
agree
that
with it
I'm
at
surprised that
all.
a few of
Sorry.
Muhammad's ex-wives have gone on record supporting it, and I kind of know them a little bit. I don't want to,
Mhm.
but what went into my brain, and I just am an honest shooter. I tell it like it is did somebody get to
Same.
them somehow to make them, or do they simply not understand what they're saying? You're a fighter. You
Yeah,
understand the sport. Man, I
You're
would
right
and
think
that's what I
there.
that,
was gonna say.
yeah. Do you think somebody's gotten to them, or well, what is or
The bottom. I first off, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm a straight shooter too. I try not to hurt anybody's feelings, but I speak my mind and I speak the truth. That's what my grandfather did. That's what I will do to the very end of my career. I will stand and say what I believe in, and the truth is, no one who's not a fighter should be talking about fighters' business. This amendment of the act affects fighters. Anyone who's giving their opinion on it, anyone who's not qualified shouldn't speak on it. That's number one. This is affecting us. It's affecting people who, a majority of fighters, unfortunately, I hate to say this, leave their career with brain damage, with injuries. They're putting their lives on the line. Some fighters don't make it to the end of their career because they pass away due to complications of this, that, whatever. They're warriors. We're warriors, and if anyone has anything to say about it, it's one of the fighters. And as for the people who are like in the mix of the family who are agreeing with the act, they either don't know what they're talking about, or you know, politically they are speaking for other reasons.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Have you spoken to Layla about it, about the subject, Layla?
I haven't. I
Yeah.
haven't. But I just don't see. I don't see any intelligent fighter agreeing with the amendment of that act. I really don't.
Yeah, well, all I see is a bunch of Dana White kiss asses, and that's the direction that they're going to go. But it's so nice that you said what you said. We wanted to give you your chance to do that. Go ahead, Lee. I know
No,
you got
thank
a
you.
question or two left.
A couple questions. One, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given since starting your boxing career?
From my grandfather, just in general.
In general, anybody, any piece of advice.
I honestly, it's not. I haven't been words haven't influenced me as actions have.
Okay.
And I was in Bud's camp, Terrence Crawford. I was in his camp leading up to the Canelo fight, and watching him, the way that he just carried himself and the way that he acted with everyone, whether it was fans or the public or his family. He's someone to look up to. And it felt like in this like day and age, there's no one for me to look up to. Like, the only guy that I look up to was like my grandfather, but he's so similar to him,
Yes.
uh just from the way that he carries himself, that was so inspirational and motivating for me to see, just that whole process. So that's stuck with me, and that's fresh in my mind because it just happened. But that, I would say, that's the best advice I've gotten.
So how happy were you to see Terrence Crawford beat Saul Canelo Alvarez?
I was over the moon. It felt like I became undisputed. I swear. It's just very, very weird. And Canelo's been one of my favorite fighters since day one. I absolutely love Canelo. I love his team. I love all those guys. And obviously it's business. It's boxing. They were so respectful towards each other. It was amazing to see. And but yeah, that victory meant a lot.
It made
Have you
made
ever
me feel
sparred
pretty
with
damn
Bud?
good since I called Bud Crawford the best fighter, that pound for pound from 10 years ago. I kept telling everybody. They eventually
Yeah.
get around to listening to Smitty. You got anything else, Lee?
No,
A couple
yeah, no,
more.
I have. I sparred him a
Yeah.
few times. I
Oh,
sparred
did
him
you?
a few times, and um uh he's like a little kid. Like, he's like my brother. So like, we're like, he's always messing with me, and it requires so much thought to spar someone like him. Just
Yeah.
even sparring. It just requires so much thinking, and he's just awesome. He's so supportive. He came to my sparring today. And he didn't have to do that. He just pulled up, and yeah, he's a special freaking fighter.
Yeah.
Hmm. Your most recent fight took place last month in the Philippines as part of the 50th anniversary of the Thrill in Manila.
Yes.
Unfortunately, your fight with Kitasak Clinton was declared an 8-round majority draw. So now that you've had some time to process the result, what went right, what went wrong, and where do you go from here?
Um, I thought I put on a tremendous performance. The crowd loved me. Everyone loved me. So when we got to the eighth round, I was excited. I was having a great time. I freaking, I was getting hyped. I did the Ali shuffle at one
Yes, you
point.
did.
Yeah, I saw
And so I was absolutely dumbfounded when I heard that it was a draw.
Hmm.
And it really hurt me because um it proved to me that you can't leave it up to the judges. And that's the biggest thing that I learned from this fight, is that moving forward, if my fights go the distance, I have to assume that the opponent won, because he was happy to just survive the 8 rounds. There was a lot of holding in the fight. I got freaking thrown to the ground. I
I
got
saw
taken
that.
down. So a lot of these opponents that I'm having, I'm not fighting Canelo Alvarez. I'm not fighting Bud Crawford right now. Okay. I'm in the early stages of my career. These opponents, when they get in the ring with me, when they make it to the last round, they're happy to have just made it to the last round. and I can't let that happen anymore. Because it's, leaving it to the judges is as good as taking a knee. It's as good as letting the other guy win.
You're
Do you have
still in
anything
the
scheduled? Do you have anything scheduled, or are you just general preparation?
No, I'm so bad at keeping secrets. I'm not allowed to officially announce it, but I'm going to be
Okay.
fighting within the next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I'm staying busy.
You're still in the embryonic and incipient stages at 25. That's when I retired from boxing. All I'm going to tell you, because I'll talk to you privately, all I'm going to tell you is you already are a champion. Whether you ever get a damn
Thank
belt
you.
or not, the way you conduct yourself, the way
Thank you.
your reality, the fact that you don't say delusional stuff, you're motivated to do this. I always worry about everybody because I host the Hall of Fame. And unfortunately, and you said it already, 90% of the Hall of Famers all end up in a bad way.
Of course.
Part of that was because they had to fight back in my era and before me and before me and before me. They had to have 100 fights. They don't have to do that. That is why, for me, and I love Bud. If Bud was here right now, I'd say, your next fight, no, come hang out with Smitty at the Hall of Fame. You got the money.
Yeah.
You've done everything.
Yeah.
Don't take any more punches. You're still seeking and searching for something. But I'm telling you, and I'm the biggest critic because I have the best eyes in boxing. I'm telling you, you're
Yes.
already a champion. You've already,
Thank you.
whatever
Thank you.
you decide to do, you've already done it. And you've shown one of the things that if Muhammad were here right now, he would say the greatest thing you've shown is toughness, mental and physical toughness. You had a shoulder that came out, and you're sitting there popping the freaking thing in, trying to, to get out, which shows that you could do like Ali, who had a broken jaw and was able to. So to me, you've already accomplished so much. I just want to see you remain healthy and part of the sport because I think there's so much that you can do outside the ring that nobody else can do because you've already, not to yourself yet, but if you've proven yourself to somebody like me, I just hope that means something. And that's the way. Of
course.
That's that.
Of course.
So,
no, thank you.
Yeah, that's because I got to give you a whole heck of a lot of credit because I know how
Thank you very
difficult.
much.
I know how difficult it is. I gotta get over there and meet you in person and come to watch you spar and stuff. And I'll certainly
Let's do it.
I'll certainly be in your ear telling you stuff to do because that is I
Please,
can't help myself.
and I'll be listening because I'm a student of the game.
Yeah, you are. What are you looking forward to for the holidays and the rest of the year, other than another fight? Apparently,
that's all that's on my mind. I'm really looking forward to this next fight. Is going to be so fun. It's going to be so special. Yeah. I can't wait. I mean, I'm getting texts and stuff right now. Unfortunately, like right now, getting stuff. People telling me what's going to be going on for when I go to the fight, and they just got so much beautiful things planned. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, can you say whether or not it is going to be in Vegas or not?
Oh my God! If it was in Vegas, I would have it tattooed on my forehead.
Okay,
it's not even going to be in this country. I wish I was fighting in America.
I think I got some. I think I have some ideas.
An idea.
We can talk about.
Yeah.
We can talk about later with that. But listen, I want to wait. Here's an invitation from the host of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and Lee's there every year. I hope you get up there in June and hang out with us.
Thank you.
Sometime soon.
I would love to.
Yeah, it's a great experience up there in Canastota. And again, we want to wish you the best of luck. Have a fantastic holiday season.
Thank you. You
Nico Ali Walsh. We'll take one last break and come back with more of what we're thankful for. We'll be back right after this.
I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back, final few minutes here in this corner, the podcast. We're taping on a Tuesday. In a couple of days is Thanksgiving 2025. The day after that, the birthday of two of the people I'm thankful for. My dear friend, where is he? Where is he? There he is. There's Paul Warfield right there. And Lee Groves, born on the 28th of this month. But I know you wanted to talk about some things you're thankful for as we are in Thanksgiving week here.
For me, Thanksgiving is just a continuation of what I feel every single day. First, as you mentioned, by the time you see this, I will have turned 61. And I did so with the gifts of excellent health, a great job with CompuBox as its chief researcher, the opportunity to write for Ring Magazine from time to time, and to continue to have a healthy mom and sister. I've also been blessed to have great bosses, Bob Canobio at CompuBox, Doug Fisher and Tom Gray at Ring, and for you for this podcast. I'm really thankful for your friendship as well as your mentorship. You've given me the opportunity to serve as co-host and executive producer. And because of the reps that you've given to me, I've been able to meet a lot of great people through this show, including Nico Ali Walsh today, and to get better and better at this job. I know there's more improvement, but you're giving me the shot. But the thing for which I'm most thankful for is my faith. I believe strongly that Jesus is the Son of God, that he died and rose again for the redemption of sin, and that those who believe in his divinity will be granted the gift of eternal life. I made that commitment many years ago, and it was the smartest decision that I've ever made. None of us are perfect, and that is especially true of me. But I'm grateful that the door has been opened for anyone who accepts him for who he is. And as long as I'm alive, and I hope that will be the case for many more years going forward, I want to do my best to be the best I can be in all the roles that I serve. So the story continues.
Amen. I'll just say amen to that. And now with all of that seriousness, I got to add a little levity. You know, one of the things, sometimes it's the simpler things in life that you can be thankful for. How about grits?
Okay.
Do you eat grits? You're not a Southern. Do you eat grits?
No, I've never had grits.
Okay. So Dazzling Dawn asked me about how do you make grits? Now, there are, you can make the real grits, but there's another way. You go in the store and you buy Quaker grits. They should sponsor us for this. Quaker. Folks, have you ever tried Quaker instant grits? Smitty uses them. And then all you need to do is take out, I should do a cooking show. You take out the packet, and you can do it two ways. You can put it in a pan. Here's a pan, and heat it up. You can do that. Or if you really want to make it simple, you dump it in a bowl and you just use the microwave, and then you got instant grits. That's something I'm thankful for. I grew up in Florida. I love grits. Probably I will find a way because, I'm going over to my son David's house, and I'll be with my granddaughters, 3 of the 5, and they asked me to bring something. Maybe I'll bring grits, and I got to bring them a check for Christmas too. But how I just pulled that off, I don't know. What do you think about Smitty with a cooking show? Think that would work? I just failed miserably, didn't I? Did I fail miserably there?
Well, as long as the food is good.
Yeah, it's true.
Good.
I think that was just. Hope you love that, Dazzling Dawn. You may have just ruined my career or any shot at a cooking show. But I think we cooked up a pretty damn good show here today. We covered everything. Thank you, Nico Ali Walsh. Look forward to. Isn't it kind of, you talk about seriously karma and fate. The fact that I'm the little boy with Ali who ended up, I was lucky enough, rather, that he let me stay in his life all the way until he died. And then I get to do the final interview with Joe Frazier. I get to call some of Layla Ali fights. I host the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And we get to have this young man, Nico, on the show all these years later, from the little boy to Nico. And, of course, I got to you co-hosting with me. A whole heck of a lot to be thankful for, no doubt about that. I think we should just take a week or so off, though. We got to take a little time off and breathe and enjoy our grits. And with that, I will say, happy birthday, baby. Happy birthday to Lee Groves. And so long to all of you folks. See you in a few weeks.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.